Good evening, you're watching the news on Croatian television. A conference on Croatia's strategy for adopting the euro was held in Zagreb today. And while Prime Minister Andrej Plenković said that joining the eurozone was an opportunity for Croatia, the National Bank governor and finance minister tried to ease concerns that Croatia was unprepared to adopt the euro and that it will face considerable inflation when it does.
There exists a perception in the public that when we introduce the euro, prices will rise significantly. All of these statistical measures show that this will not be the case. That did not happen in other countries which introduced the euro. However, this perception persists. The fact is that Croatia is reducing its public debt as a percentage of GDP twice as fast as the EU average. And what is perhaps even more important, twice as fast than the criteria that lie ahead of us in terms of Maastricht and the Stability and Growth Pact.
Economic analyst Velimir Šonje had this to say about what the introduction of the euro will mean for Croatian citizens.
All of the reasons why the Croatian economy was inactive and lethargic, with little or no pressure to implement reforms, the introduction of the euro and joining the eurozone will change that, and some pressure will be felt to do these things. What also needs to be said is that medium-term interest rates over the next couple of years will grow slightly on the international and European markets. Through the introduction of the euro, we are being afforded the opportunity to compensate for this effect. I am not claiming that interest rates will be much lower than today, but they will be lower than if we stay in our own currency.
Agrokor's crisis management team presented a viability plan for the heavily indebted food and retail group today. Ante Ramljak said his team expected Agrokor's operating profit to double in 5 years without major layoffs.
As you have already reported, Konzum is looking for a certain number of people for various positions, so it will all level out to approximately where we are now. There will not be any massive firings from companies in the group.
The viability plan is a critical part of the restructuring. It is looking at the profitability of the businesses and looking at ways to improve the profitability of the business. It's taken a lot of work with a lot of people to prepare those plans, and there are many opportunities in the plans for the businesses to improve their profitability.
Prime Minister Plenković today commented on the opposition's motion to hold a vote of no confidence in the government as a result of the Agrokor crisis.
A large number of politicians have not only changed their rhetoric by 180 degrees, but it appears as though the public as a whole is suffering from collective amnesia. For a full 5 months, you had the song from Most and the SDP, in which they claimed that the HDZ and government were protecting Mr. Todorić. All of a sudden in September, a completely different song. They have practically become spokesmen for Mr. Todorić.
Most replied via social media that they never claimed that the Prime Minister was protecting Ivica Todorić, but rather criminal activity within Agrokor. Meanwhile, the SDP announced today that it would submit the motion for a vote of no confidence in the government on Thursday, and not today as expected.
Why on Thursday, when we have already gathered the signatures? Because Wednesday is question time in Parliament, when Prime Minister Plenković will be present in Parliament. And we don't want this motion to overshadow question time on Wednesday.
According to the latest data from the State Statistics Bureau, consumer spending in September rose by 4.3% year on year. It is down by 1.6%, however, when compared with August. Industrial production is also on the rise, with year-on-year growth of 3% this September and 1.4% growth from the previous month. Meanwhile, Tourism Minister Gari Capelli announced today that the tourism sector has surpassed the 100 million mark in overnight stays for the first time. Capelli said that it is now clear that Croatia is a hit destination. The Vatican Secretary of State, Cardinal Pietro Parolin, is on an official visit to Croatia. Today he lectured at the Croatian Catholic University, where he touched on the canonization of Cardinal Aloysius Stepinac. Top church and state officials were on hand.
Cardinal Parolin, here among us, represents Pope Francis, as he is his closest colleague. Therefore, here from the center of the Croatian Catholic University, we pray that our dearest guest, Cardinal Parolin, conveys to the Holy Father our commitment to the Church and our unity in prayer. Throughout the history of your country, we find many records of those who suffered for the truth. Among them, the Catholic Church in devotion and love cites that of the Blessed Aloysius Stepinac, the one-time Archbishop of this city.
I am constantly emphasizing that I see knowledge and education, together with moral upbringing, as the main strengths of any society. And by this, I am not referring solely to material advancement, which is certainly necessary first and foremost for our youth, as the foundation for their independence in life, but I'm also thinking about their spiritual advancement, which is a precondition for strengthening common ethical and societal values, the family, the spirit of solidarity, and a culture of dialogue.
Taking a quick look at sports and the Domestic Football League. Istra and Inter Zaprešić closed out the 14th round of play with a 1-1 tie this evening. Dinamo is currently first in the standings with 34 points, followed by Osijek with 27 and Rijeka and Hajduk with 25 each. Inter is now sixth with 18 points, while Istra is ninth in the 10-team league with 10 points. And now the forecast for tomorrow. Morning patches of fog and frost in the interior will give way to partly sunny skies, predominantly sunny on the coast and in the mountains. Winds will be mild inland with a moderate to strong northeasterly on the Adriatic that will weaken in the afternoon. Morning lows of -3 to +2 degrees Celsius in the interior, 6 to 11 on the coast, will give way to highs of 8 to 13 degrees inland, 14 to 18 on the Adriatic. The 3-day forecast for the interior calls for predominantly stable and partly sunny weather. There is a slight chance of some light rain in mountainous areas on Friday. It will be cold with frost on Wednesday morning, followed by warmer but foggy mornings on Thursday and Friday. The coast will see predominantly sunny skies and relatively warm temperatures of between 16 to 19 degrees. The northern Adriatic could see some rain on Friday. And that wraps up the news. Be sure to join us again tomorrow night.